Hello everyone, Matthew the Rainbow Yoshi here. For me and anyone who's a Mario Kart Tour fan, we are currently going through the Los Angeles tour, the third one as a matter of fact. I've been thinking recently, and I had an idea so big it made my brain explode. You see, this video could have been done sooner, but I had no thought of it at the time. So you're all probably wondering, Matthew, what kind of idea are you thinking of? Well, I'm happy to say that this video will be about the time I went to Los Angeles. I'll be talking about my entire trip there and only go in depth where all the big things happened while I was at Los Angeles and traveling to and from there. But before I talk about the trip, let's talk about how I got to go to Los Angeles in the first place. Back in 2015, I was going into my freshman year of high school. The summer before the school year started, I joined the Lincoln High School marching band from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It was something for me to be excited about, as my brothers performed in the band, which, in typical brotherly fashion, made me want to join too. Skip ahead to 2016, the year I was particularly excited for. You see, every 4 years, the Lincoln band would always have a big trip planned, and 2016 was my big trip year. That year, the Lincoln Band was to go to Los Angeles for the Hollywood Christmas Parade. I was absolutely excited about going to Los Angeles. Before then, the farthest west I've ever gone from my home in Sioux Falls was to the Rocky Mountains, so I was excited to see a whole lot of new places on my way out there. The 2016 season of marching band competitions went by, we had our indoor shows, had extra parade practice, and the directors finalized the plans for the trip. Before long, it was time to hit the road to Los Angeles. The morning before Thanksgiving in 2016 was exhausting, but at the same time, very exciting. We loaded our instruments and luggage onto charter buses, said goodbye to our families, and soon got on the road to Los Angeles. The plan was to arrive at our hotel, a Hilton in Long Beach, California, the next evening. We left Lincoln High School in Sioux Falls and went south through Sioux City, Iowa to Council Bluffs, then turned west through Omaha, Nebraska, and made our first scheduled stop in Lincoln. After that, we spent the whole day crossing the state of Nebraska, going by Kearney and North Platte, with one stop along the way. It was pretty boring, but I had some friends on the bus with me, and we all played some Mario Kart DS to pass the time. By that evening, we made it to our next scheduled stop in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Things were running very smoothly until we came to a long road trip's worst enemy: roadblocks. Yep, the road ahead was closed because it was snowing in the mountains that night. And it wasn't just a roadblock, it was a roadblock in the middle of nowhere, except for a small service station nearby. Some of my friends were even crying, wanting to go home.
Taylor and Taylor here in the middle of nowhere, and we all want to die. Please just take me home. Mom!
Personal thanks to my friend Taylor for letting me use this. But I wanted to keep on going. The original plan was to go through the Rockies into Utah and go through Salt Lake City, Orem, Provo, St. George, and arrive in Las Vegas, Nevada the next morning. So, Plan B was to go to Denver and try to traverse west into Utah again. We backtracked to Laramie, Wyoming, and while it wasn't fun, I got to see something that night that was absolutely stunning. I got to see the Milky Way in the sky. I was starting to get tired, but I didn't want to miss out on such an amazing sight. About 2 hours of backtracking later, we made a stop at a travel information center in Fort Collins, Colorado, to be sure we wouldn't hit another roadblock after leaving Denver. What do you think will happen? Will we start traversing west from Denver and manage to make up lost time? Or will there be a plan C to the route to LA? If you guessed the latter, you are correct. So now, Plan C was to go a long way south before traversing west again. We hit the road and went through Denver, Colorado Springs, and Pueblo, making a short stop in Trinidad, and by morning, made a stop in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Yeah, I know how sad that sounds, doesn't it? It was now Thanksgiving Day. After that stop at Las Vegas, we went south by Santa Fe and finally started to traverse west again at Albuquerque. Our next stop was in Gallup, and I'll always remember that as the time I had an Arby's roast beef sandwich for a Thanksgiving dinner. Oh man. That evening, we entered Arizona going through Flagstaff and Kingman, and making one last stop in the small town of Top Rock. California was on the horizon. It was now dark, and we finally entered California. Going through Needles, Barstow, and Victorville, then through the Cajun Pass summit, into the Los Angeles suburbs. We finally arrived at the Hilton at 2 in the morning after riding a bus for 42 grueling hours. My first full day in Los Angeles was fun. We went to Knott's Berry Farm to perform the music from our marching band show that year, and then spent the rest of the day riding the rides. My favorite ride from Knott's Berry Farm has to be their inverted roller coaster called Silver Bullet. It was the first time I've ever ridden an inverted roller coaster. So when my eldest brother, who is a fan of thrill rides himself, heard that I went on an inverted roller coaster, he said to me when I arrived back home, "You have officially entered manhood," which I kind of find hilarious now that I think about it. On our second day in Los Angeles, we went to the Griffith Observatory, which I believe can be spotted on the mountainside in Los Angeles Labs. I had a great time there and even got a picture with my friend Taylor in front of the Hollywood sign. On the way there, I also got a quick glimpse of the Dodger Stadium, which you all know we fly over in Los Angeles Labs 3. After that was the Hollywood Walk of Fame and the Chinese Theater. Nothing much happened there. And then for the second half of the day, I went to Universal Studios, and it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. I went on the Jurassic Park ride before exposure a few years later, went through a Walking Dead area, which, I'm not gonna lie, freaked me out a little bit. I also went on the Simpsons ride, Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, and Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. I even went to buy myself a wand, which cost $45, which I kinda found as highway robbery.
Well, I call it inflation in more ways than one.
But that's just Universal Studios for you. I also went on the studio tour and had a fun time looking at a whole bunch of movie sets from movies I've seen as a kid. This is what I would call the highlight of my time in Los Angeles. The next day was the day of the parade. The Hollywood Christmas Parade is a nighttime parade, so we needed something fun to do for the first half of the day. And that was going to the Santa Monica Pier, which can easily be seen in Los Angeles Labs. It's also the one and only time I ever set foot in the Pacific Ocean. It was on and off rain that day, so while it was raining, I went into the arcade to have some fun where I got to play some Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix Deluxe, which I'm pretty sure can't be found in a lot of places in the US. After that, we went to the Grove, where I got to explore the big retail area as well as its farmers market and see the CBS studio.
There they are! Here's the elf!
That evening, we went to the parade route back near the Hollywood Walk of Fame and got ready to perform. It felt so satisfying marching down the red carpet with my friends, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience I will never forget. Of course, all good things have to come to an end. The next morning, we loaded the buses and hit the road back to Sioux Falls. The route back, however, would be completely different to avoid the risk of hitting another roadblock. We went the exact same path back to Albuquerque, making a stop in Barstow and another in Flagstaff. This time, we kept traversing east past Albuquerque overnight and making our next stop in Amarillo, Texas. We continued east and made our next stop in Oklahoma City. From there, we would traverse up north, going through Wichita and Topeka, Kansas, making our next stop in a small town called Holton. We continued north to Nebraska City and entered Iowa, where we had our last stop before the straight shot back to Sioux Falls. The whole bus ride back was 37 hours, but it felt nice to be home again, and I went straight to bed as we arrived back at 4 in the morning. All the while, I was happy to have had a great experience in Los Angeles. So there you have it, everyone. This was a fun video to make, but now I just wish I did it sooner. But, you know, better late than never. Let me know in the comments if you want more videos like this one in the future. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. I'd like to thank all of you here for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.